Hello and welcome to Coding here today with me. I'm coding at scratch.mit.edu, and today we're going to make a kind of like geometry dash type game. Except I'm going to call this game, I'm going to call it square dash. Now I've already partly created this game, so I'm going to call it square dash 2.0. And so I'm going to take you through all the steps from the start all the way to getting the main block, the main square moving, and then I'll leave it to you to advance from there. So I'll try to do this as quick as I can, so feel free to pause the video whenever you want to, and I might move myself around the screen here. So here we are in Scratch, in this coding environment. And the first thing is we're going to make the general structure of the game, and so I'm going to create a logo and some backgrounds and get things started from there. So actually maybe the first thing I'll do is go to this stage here, click on the backgrounds and go to backdrops, and I would like to choose a backdrop here. I'm going to choose 3 of them, one for a logo screen, one for a start menu, and then one for the main level. And the main level one I want to keep pretty plain. The other 2 I could be as fancy as I want to be. For the logo, I'm going to just pick this light one. You can pick whatever you want. For the start menu, it's going to be the blue sky. For the main thing, blue sky 2, I'm going to use because it's nice and plain. So I'm going to first delete the backdrop one, and instead of calling this one light, I'm going to call it logo screen. And this will just help me when I code to keep track of what I'm doing here. And this one I'm going to call start menu. And this one I'm going to call level 1. So in the future I can make many levels if I want to, but first, these are the first 3 that I'm going to deal with. So if we click on the code tab, what we're going to do is we're going to bring under events when the green flag is clicked. And maybe I'll zoom in a little bit there just so it's easier for you to see. Okay, so when the green flag is clicked, we want the under looks, switch to backdrop level. Not level 1, but back to start with the logo screen. So when the green flag is clicked, switch to logo screen. Okay, let's now run our game, and you can see that I went to the logo screen right away. Now I'm going to create a logo. Usually I get students to create a picture of themselves just because it's really fun, entertaining, and then create their sprite. So I'm going to do that real quickly here. I'm going to delete this sprite of the cat, and instead I'm going to choose a new sprite here, and maybe I'll move my picture over a bit. And I can choose or I can draw, and I'm going to suggest that or to paint. And I'm going to suggest that you paint the picture of you. Now I'm going to draw this really quick here, not to use up too much of your time here. And so it's going to look subpar for sure. Okay, so there's my eyes. Oh, yeah, Control Z to undo things in this environment. Right now we're making a vector, which is not the easiest thing to do. I might change it. I'm going to change the color. It's not the easiest thing to color in with vectors, so I might change it to a bitmap. Yeah. It's very low quality, but it's okay. Get myself some hair here. Some blue hair would be good. And I'll make the size, maybe make it 20, just so it's easier to... There, exactly the way my hair looks right now. And I may as well give myself some eyebrows at the same time. And why not put some glasses in there too? If you hold the shift key down when you're making a circle like this, it makes it a perfect circle. And I'm going to undo that because I actually don't want color in the middle. I just want the outside. Oh yeah, nice. Okay. I also want this to be a bit thicker. Let's go all the way to 10. There we go. And control copy, control paste. Now I have two identical looking glasses. If you ever want to get the color that you've used before, you can get this little eyedropper here, and you can select the color that you've had before. There we go. There it is. Now, if I want to color in, say, the skin, if it's an enclosed shape like these circles, I'll be able to do this in vector form. So you can see that I can color all the lines and inside these circles, but I can't do the skin here. I'm going to convert to Bitmap. It makes it a little choppier, I guess you'd say, but I'm just going to pick a, let's say, oh my goodness, looks like I'm ill. And okay, I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but I started to, okay, not bad. Let's put a little white in there. Eyes. And that's not joined there, so I gotta go back and join it. Just right in there. It's just needs to be joined, and then I'll be able to paint in there to fill it. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Just wanted to get that color. Oh my goodness. That one's not joined either. Struggling here, but don't worry. Okay, so again, I'd like you to draw yourself. Spend more time than I'm doing right now, making it look a little more like yourself. Okay, I'm going to be good with that. Okay, and right now you can see the size of the sprite, and this is really quite larger than I want it to be. So I'm going to go to the select tool, and I can put a box around this whole picture here, and then I can make it smaller. And I think I'll make about that size. Also, you'll notice there's a little shaded, like grayed out crosshairs in the middle of each picture. And there's also one with your drawing, and if you line those two up, then your picture will be in the center of the picture, and so that'll be easier for you to program it. On the actual screen up here is what it's going to appear in your video game, and so I'm going to actually just place it in the middle where I like it to be, right there. And if I go back to the code, back to the motion tab here, I can see that it's being placed at 2, -6. So one thing you should know about this is just like any other XY grid, where Y is in the vertical domain and X in the horizontal, and 0, 0 is right in the middle. And if you go further to the right, your X becomes more positive. If you go further up, Y becomes more positive. And Y is negative down, X is negative to the left. So this code here, if I say go to 0, 0, like that, it's right. The middle of the picture is going to be in the middle of the screen there. So maybe I'll do that initially. The other thing I would like to do is under events, when the green flag is clicked, I want it to go there, and then I'm going to go under looks and tell it to show. Now the only reason I'm going to tell it to show here is because pretty soon I'm going to tell it to hide. So there's that, and then usually I'll put in a couple more sprites. I'll put in a, maybe I'll put myself there. I'll put in a sprite that usually I'll use like Atkins Games, so I'll show you how to do that. You're going to grab text here, and I think I'd like, doesn't really matter the color, but I'm going to go with that. So you can see I just typed in Atkins. If I click off it once, then I can resize it, and you can see up here what size it's going to look like. I don't want it quite that big. So something like this. Move it around the screen to see if it's gonna, no, it's a little bit big still. Okay, I like that. So it'll be Atkins there. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. So I have now 2 Atkinses. And this one I'm going to say games. Like that. I'm going to center this on here. I'm going to move this here. And I'm noticing that it's a little bit too large. It kind of sticks out the screen, so maybe I'll make both of these a little bit smaller here. Might have to select that, yeah. So for sure now I have a danger in making the font sizes different. And so actually what I'm going to do is delete games, reduplicate Atkins, so that the same font size. Because there's nothing else, no code-wise to copy over, it's pretty simple there. So I like those 2 things. And now you should do some sort of animation. So this character here maybe will just appear. So I'll show you how to do that. It doesn't matter too much about what animation you do, but we're going to go to bring out the change color effect. And there's a whole bunch of strange things here. We can whirl, pixelate, fisheye. And I'm going to do the ghost effect. So I'm going to change the ghost effect by, let's go by 10. And what happens, you can see, if I click this a bunch of times, it'll slowly fade out. So if I change it to -10, it will slowly appear like that. So I'm going to set the ghost effect to 100. That means it'll be completely faded out. 100 usually is for the color and all the stuff, the effects, they usually go up to 100. Not saying that's for sure what they all do, but it's typical. And so I'm going to repeat this 10 times. And this should, when I click on it, it should appear. Now it's appearing a bit faster than I want to, so I'm going to slow it down by repeating this 100 times and just doing it once. And let's just see this. So now you can see it slowly appear. And that might end up being kind of too slow, because this is just your logo screen. And you don't want to bore people to death at the very start of your game by having a long logo. Alright, so that's probably better. Yeah. And I'm going to animate these. So, what we're going to do is under events, when the green flag is clicked, I am going to go to the motion tab. Now I want them to end up being here, so I'm going to tell it to glide to this location that's currently at. This -141, -34, it just happens to be where Atkins is right there, the sprite. And so I'm going to tell it to glide there, but then I'm going to say where it's going to glide from. And actually I think I'll glide from the bottom here. So I'm just going to put it out of there. Just a thing to note is I'm grabbing it from the top to K there, because if let's say I grabbed it from the bottom down here and tried to put it below, it won't let me place with my mouse cursor outside of the actual window. So you can grab it from the bottom like that. Okay, so I'm going to say go to that location. You'll notice it's updated to the new location, and then glide there. So this is what's going to happen in 1 second. And I'm going to do a very similar thing to here. So I'm going to go to events when the green flag is clicked. The green flag is how you start, or you can start all your games. I'm going to glide to the location it's at. I'm going to take it from here and drop it down here, and we're going to start there. Now we're going to go to this location, and for looks, we're going to, as soon as it gets to that location, we're going to show. Okay. And the reason why we're going to show, we'll do that for both of these, is that after this logo screen, which maybe should have some sound to it too, we're going to transition to the start menu, and I'm going to want to hide all these things. So let's go to sounds actually, and I think the last thing, if I look at this correctly, the last thing that happens is, yeah, this gets fully into focus or bright enough. The ghost effect goes all the way down to 0, and the other thing is when Atkins game arrives at that spot there, I want it to make a sound. And so I'm going to go to sounds. Now right now, hopefully that's not too loud. That's a pop sound. I don't want that one. I'm going to go down here and choose a sound. And I usually use for mine the, is it this? No. It's what do I use? Let's go to notes, and I think it's the E. I think the E bass maybe. Yeah, that sounds right. So I'm going to use that one. This is the E bass, and so now I have it on like it's in my sprite there, and so I'm going to go to sounds, and I'm going to play the E bass. Not until it's done, but just the E bass. So now there's that sound that kicks in right when my logo gets there. And the last thing is the animation of this. And so after my face becomes visible, what I'm going to do is use the broadcast. So under events, there's a broadcast message 1. This is a good way to tell the rest of your game, essentially the rest of the sprites, that some event has happened. And the event that we're going to have happen here, so I'll go new message, or I'm going to basically just tell the rest of the game that start menu. That's the message I'm going to send out. Start menu, I would like to have happen. Now it won't do anything until I tell it to tell it what start menu means. But for now, broadcast start menu, and then this logo, this person here, which I'm actually going to call, I'll just call Atkins face. How about? I'm just going to have that person or that hide. So I'm going to go under looks and I'm going to hide. Now this start menu has been broadcasted, so I can use that as an event to start some code from. So when I receive start menu on the Atkins, or this, this is called, okay, Atkins logo, say, and I'm going to call this one games logo. Sure. I don't know if those are the, anyway, they're both part of the logo. So when I receive start menu, I am going to hide it. Now this exact same code I want on the games logo, so I'm going to actually grab it here. If you grab it here and drop it onto, I dropped it onto games, you'll go into games here and you'll see that that code is being copied. So that's just a pro tip. It makes things go much faster when you're programming in Scratch. So now Atkins games appears and then disappears, and if I play the game again, they all reappear. Okay, the next thing we want to do is go to backdrops. We're going to go to the code there, and we're going to grab when I receive start menu. Hopefully you can guess what's going to happen. We're going to switch the backdrop to start menu. So now, after the logo happens there, and I like that. That amount of time for logo is good for me. Now we're at the start menu. And on the start menu, let's make a play button and then get right to level 1. Also on the start menu is a good place to probably put your title of your game, and so we'll call this one square dash. So let's make a couple more sprites here. So one, the play button, I'm just going to make a triangle, and if I do this with the shift key held down, I can get really straight lines and also connecting lines. There, does that look like, oh, it's kind of a little bit off there. Am I okay with that? I think I am. No, I'm not quite. Oh, what's going on there? I'll call this play button. And actually, one of the things I don't like about this is how small that is. So let's, I'm just going to delete what I have there and try that again. Oh, why? I wonder why it switched to that again. There we go. Okay. Okay, that's okay with me. All right, and then the middle of I'm also going to paint because I made an enclosure. It should. Oh, it won't. Nice. Oh, that's because of this. Oh, good. Okay, so it's against a blue sky, so I'm actually going to make it the color, the green color there, or close to it. There we go. That's good. Now, and again, we want to select it here and make sure that it's lined up in the center. And then on here, we'll put it there. Hopefully it's obvious enough. That's the play button. Should I put it there maybe? So I can put the title. I don't know if it'll be obvious. I could also put some text in there that says play. I think I want it the same color as this. Now it should be obvious. But that's the play button. There you go. Okay, so I'm good with that one. And then I'm going to, whoops, let's go back. I also want to create another thing that's called the name of the game. So I'm going to call it square dash. Whoa. Square dash. And if I unclick it, I can make it whatever size I want. And that seems to be an okay size. I'll center it here. And then I'll go up here and put it where I want it to be. Something like that. Okay, let's do the code for this. So the code for the title, you want to start every sprite from now on, you want to put in when the green flag is clicked. So what happens at the start of the game. And for this, I actually want it to hide right away. And then at the when I receive start menu, I want it to, well, first I want to go to this location that it's at right now, and then I want it to show. Just like that. And this is pretty much the same code as the green flag, so I'm going to show you, I'll drag and drop that in there, and this one in there too. If I go into the green flag, it looks like only one's there, but that's because they're on top of each other. This code here is good for the square dash, but it's not good for my play button, so I'm actually going to throw that away. Go into the motion, you'll see that the go to XY location is different for the green flag. Alright, so now if I run this game, logo comes up, and I want to click on this button and go to the next one. So luckily in Scratch we have when this sprite is clicked. When this sprite is clicked, we can do things, and what I'm going to do is broadcast. Instead of start menu, we're going to do level 1. Okay. So when this sprite is clicked, broadcast level 1. It will not do anything yet until we tell it. After we've clicked this, I want this thing to hide. So I'm going to find hide. The play button I want to hide, like that. The square dash, the way I'm going to control that is when I receive level 1, I'll have it hide. Okay. And in backdrops, if we go to the code there, whoops, go to the code, when I receive level 1, again, I'm hoping that you're guessing what's going to happen. We're going to switch to a level 1. Okay, let's see what happens so far. So, wherever logo comes up, we click on the play button, it switches now to our level 1. So all we've done right now is kind of just create a structure for the game and using things called broadcast to control the sequencing of it, and that's going to pay off big time in the future when we want to say it's game over or you won the game, that kind of thing, or rolling credits or going to level 2. It's just going to be that much easier to control how it moves. Now I'm just going to name this. I'm going to call it game name. Okay. Let's move on to making the player. I think in this video I'll make the play. Well, maybe I'll do it all. I know it adds up. It makes it for a very long video, but let's at least make the player before we break for another video. or maybe I'll just keep going. We'll see. Okay, for the player, I need for geometry dash, there's usually a square that flips as you jump. And so we're going to create a square. So I'm going to go to paint again. I'm going to take the square and I'm going to hold the shift key down, and that'll make it a perfect square. And this one, you can see there's no outline, and it's filled. You could have an outline. It would be fine to have an outline. I don't know if I need one. And it's black for the fill, and really, I don't know that I want it to be black. What color do I want it? I don't know. Let's go blue. Okay. And so it's a blue square. It's not going to be that big when we're done with it. So let's resize that out right off the bat. You can click on this little arrow here. You can either select it like that or like that, because we're in vector mode, and then we can make it much smaller. Now, how small should you make this thing? It's all up to you. I want it about this size. Like if I'm thinking playing a game where the thing's jumping up like this and flipping around, I think this is a nice size here compared to the screen. So you can decide. And again, center it. Don't leave it over here. Put it centered on there, and then you can move it around your screen on this side here. So, would it be fun if this thing had a face on it? Yeah, it would be fun. So let's put a little face on it. We're going to go light blue. Might look weird, but so I'm going to make, again, I don't know if you can see there. Maybe I'll zoom in. I'll delete that. So I'll just show you how to zoom in here. So we can zoom in a little bit, and then it's a little easier to make circles here. And again, if you hold the shift key down, it makes it a perfect circle. Not that it needs to be perfect. I'm going to make 2 of these. We're in vector mode, so we can drag and drop things around pretty easily. Okay, and I'll make a smile, and I think I'll just paint it. That is really a bit too thick. Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, so there's my costume. I feel like there should be, I'm gonna just try something here. I feel like there needs to be eyeballs. Oops. Control Z to undo anything. So I made a copy of those. I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit just so I can grab a hold of them. Yeah. Just put some eyeballs there. Have him looking to the side. Maybe straight to the side, just so he's like anticipating the spikes that he's going to have to jump. Okay, so there it is. Now, this is my main character. And the other thing is we're going to want the ground to scroll along the side. This character actually only jumps up and down in Geometry Dash. It doesn't move left to right. The illusion happens because as though it's moving to the right, because the floor is moving to the left. So let's make a floor, and we can actually, I'm going to make it the same size as the sprite here. You don't have to, but I'm going to make little bricks, I guess, and we'll generate them like a clone. We'll clone them. So we'll see that. So I'm actually going to duplicate this. Now this first sprite I'm going to call player. You could call player 1, I guess. And these ones I'm going to call brick. And you can see that this doesn't look anything like a brick, so I'm going into the brick one and I'm going to change it. I'm going to paint it a more bricky color. Here. Let's get rid of this eyeball here too. Ooh, there's like a gray right there. Something like that. Might be okay. And maybe a darker color for the lines here. So to make it look like a brick, I'm just drawing lines, holding the shift key down to make it straight. And I can see already that these bricks are going to be a little bit, it's okay. A little bit, the lines are sticking out a little bit is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not going to ultimately like that, but it's okay for now. So make a brick format or pattern. And again, I could in the future come back and make this look much better, much more brick-like. I could also find a brick pattern online, let's say, and oops. Okay. Oh well, it's okay. All right. Actually, I think I can click on it like that and drop it down. There you go. Okay, so there we have the brick. Now the main thing here at the top where it touches, I want that one to be flat, so that should be good. On the sides, it won't make a difference. Okay, and that brick you can see up there, right here. So let's get going to the code of, let's first do the code for the brick, and then we're going to do the code for the player, and then we'll put in a spike. But first let's do the brick going across and the player. So let's go to the code for the brick, and I'm going to try to follow the game that I've already created, the coding for that, just so that because I've shared that, and so you can compare the code. So I'll try to do everything that I've done there. So the first thing we want to do is we want to, for the brick, when I receive the green flag, when the game starts, what do I want to have happen with the brick? I want this brick to disappear. So I'm going to hide it. And it's not until I receive level 1, so it's under events, when I receive level 1, that I actually want to have the brick do anything. And what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to have it continually create clones of itself, and it'll just, especially for level 1, and it'll just go and have it scroll across the screen. So I'm going to use a repeat, not forever, but a repeat until. And for now, I'm going to leave the until blank, and that will just make it go forever. And in the future, we're going to add some things in there, so just keep that there. So I want to create a clone. Where do I go to clones? Down here, just at the very bottom of control, it says create a clone of myself. I'm going to do that. And this will create a lot of clones really fast, and we probably don't want them to creating like a clone as fast as I can create them. We want some time in there, so I'm going to put wait 1 second for now. All right, now when a clone is created, we need to tell it what to do. So we go back down to control. When I start as a clone, right now this brick is hidden. Even when it starts as a clone, it's hidden, and so we're going to tell it to go to a specific location. And I'm going to let me move myself over here. So let's tell it to go out here. Right about there. So if we go to the motion tab, we can find out what location that is. So we're going to say go to that location, show yourself, and then we're going to do that repeat. So repeat until, and we're going to have an actual condition in there in just a moment. So we wanted to move, we're going to move the x go to change x by 10, bring that out, and we're going to change that to, let's go -5, and that'll make it go across the screen. And we want to keep repeating this until this brick gets all the way to the other side. And so you can kind of see where good cutoff would be. Right now, if I go to my motion thing, it says -244. So let's grab this x position down here, and less than, right now the less than 50, that's under the operators. So when the x position is less than minus, I don't know, well, 244, let's go -240. And we'll just see if that works. If we have to, we'll make it smaller. And you can see here, I'll just move that to the side. You can see here that we're repeating until the x position is less than -240. We're going to keep making it smaller and smaller, moving it to the left. Okay, and once it gets to the left there, we actually want to destroy that clone. You could hide it, but we actually want to get rid of that clone. And so, where is that? Under events, we're going to, under control, delete this clone. So let's just see how this works. So if I click here, you can see the bricks are being made. Here, I'm going to show this a bit bigger here. The bricks are being made, they're going across. The reason why you see this brick right here is because that hadn't been played. We can see that one every 1 second is actually not going to be good enough. We want them to be more frequently. So you can make this 0.5 seconds and see what that does. Okay, not good enough. Let's go 0.2. 0.2 is pretty good. Let's see if we can go a little higher. 0.22. Yeah, 2.2, 2.5. 2.5 is too much. They're starting to separate. 2.4, 2.3. 2.3 looks good for me. You can, depending on the size of your, oh, there's a little gap there, eh? Let's go 2.2. And I'm noticing once in a while there's a glitchy space that happens, but let's do 2.2. It looks okay. Now, one thing is you'll notice that they're being, you can see they're being generated here and they're disappearing here, and it's a little bit, it's not quite as nice, it's a little clunky. Don't worry about that for now. We can always put a frame around our game if we want to. But right now this is our game. So I'll press stop so it doesn't keep going. If I run this game from the start, you'll see we got Atkins game, we got the play. This guy, our main player, is still there too, which we're gonna change in just a moment. And then we have our moving sidewalk. Now it doesn't quite look like he's moving. Well, it does a little bit, but we'll do some more animation so that it looks like he's actually the one moving and not the ground. Okay, so now we need to program the player here, and the code on the player is going to get really complicated. But for now, so I'll just the player. For now, it's empty, and we're going to put a lot of things in here. Initially, it's not going to be complex. It's going to be very similar to the brick. When the green flag is clicked, we want to hide it. And we want it to go to a location. I think we'll have it start at a location up here and fall to the bricks. I think that will be a nice thing. So I'm going to tell it to go to where it is right there. And that actually maybe I'll put under when I receive level 1. Go to that location. And then we're going to wait a little bit, maybe a second, before we actually have it drop down. Let me just think here. I guess we should show it because it was hidden before. So we can put that right here. And we'll just wait, I don't know, let's wait 2 seconds. And then we'll drop it. And so we're going to actually have to create something. Now I could just animate it, like glide to that location. But I think we should, at this point, introduce how we're going to do gravity. And because when we do our jumps, we want it to look quite natural if we can. So we're going to create things, and I'm going to call them, instead of gravity, I'm going to call them drop speed and jump speed, even though they're not technically those things, but they're kind of close to that. So I think it'll make sense to call them that. We'll see. So I'm gonna set the drop speed. So I didn't really say what I did there, but I went to variables. I clicked on make a variable, and for all sprites is good. So we go OK. So drop speed, you can see up there is 0 right now by default. And I'm also going, well, for now let's just do drop speed. I think I'll stop the video after we do this, and then in the next video I'll show you about jump speed, and we'll get this character jumping. Or should we do it now? Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. So we're going to set the drop speed here to some value, and I'm going to use -2 for now. That means it'll go down instead of up in the Y direction. We haven't told it to do that, but we will really soon. And if you bring in an event, under control, bring in a repeat until. We're going to repeat changing the y. So go to motion, change y by 10, bring that out, put that inside. And we don't want to change it by 10, we want to change it by this variable called drop speed. And that drop speed right now is -2, so this main player is going to drop pretty slowly. We might change -2 to something a little bit faster. And we're going to repeat until it's touching the brick. So we can actually go to sensing, and this says touching mouse pointer, bring that out, put that inside here. Notice that it's not looking for the left side of, the right side of this hexagon shape, but the left side of it, not the right side, the left. And so it's all in there. Repeat until touching mouse pointer, change y by drop speed, which means change y by -2 here. So let's see if that works. I'm going to move my video up there. Okay, I'm going to play it here. So it goes across, and yeah, good. The only thing, repeat until touching, mouse pointer, yeah. Let's change that to the brick, how about? Now let's see what happens. Because it just fell through the brick that last time. Boom, there it is. It's on the brick. It fell. Okay, this is the start of our game. This is the first video. I'm going to stop it here, and in the second video, we're going to go from here. All right. See you soon.